Hi, everybody. One of the most common questions that I get, especially at the beginning of the new year, for those of you who perhaps have certification goals in 2025, is which exam should I take? And I think that this is a really important question that we consider because there's a lot of confusion over what exam is better or best. And there are different variables that should be considered depending on what your professional career goals are. So I thought I would take this opportunity to share a few slides from the webinar that I did back in December that really helps us get a sense of which test you should take. So starting with really, why should you get certified? What are the benefits? Now, PayScale in 2018 did a very popular study. Unfortunately, they haven't repeated it since then. So this data is, take it for what it's worth. But even in 2018, they found that there was a lot of return on investment for HR professionals who chose to sit for the most common generalist exams, which are those provided by the Human Resource Certification Institute, which is HRCI. They do the PHR and the SPHR exam. They also have the APHR exam, which is the Associate in Professional Resources, that is a really strong option for individuals who are new to human resources. The other certifying body is the Society for Human Resource Management, or SHRM. Again, they're a large lobbying group for our profession, and they administer the SHRM-SCP and the SHRM-SCP exams. And there's a lot of similarities between the HRCI and the SHRM exams, particularly because their baseline knowledge is the same. We're talking United States labor law, we're talking talent management in areas such as recruiting and selection and performance management. These are core responsibilities for HR professionals that you're going to be tested on no matter which exam you take. So we can't really make a decision about what exam we should take based strictly on content alone. Going back to the pay scale survey, from a return on investment perspective, individuals who are certified do tend to promote advance more quickly in their careers, and they do report as a result of that the higher earnings. Depending on your career goal, for example, those of you who are really seeking a chief human resource position or more of an executive or director level position, according to the pay scale survey, more than half of senior HR leaders have some sort of certification. And so this is really important as you're deciding whether or not you want to take an exam at all, is to once again evaluate your career goals. So having said that, which exam? We've got the HRCI exams, which is the PHR, the SPHR, PHRI, and the SPHRI. And then, like I said, you've got the APHR. And then you've got those SHRM exams, which is the CP, which is more of a generalist certificate, and then the SCP, which is a senior level certificate. The best advice that I can give you is to kind of piece together your strategy based on your own journey. So we want to consider where you're at in your HR career, because both HRCI and SHRM exams are experience-based, meaning they require that you have some sort of previous human resource level experience. Now, it's called professional level experience. Years ago, that used to mean that it had to be an exempt level HR job. That is no longer the case, provided that you can demonstrate that you have practical real world experience within the traditional functions of human resources. You can apply with that experience. Another common question that I get, particularly for eligibility, is what if I'm in a management role, but it's not necessarily primarily in the human resource function? That can apply depending on what level of education you have. So if you have a bachelor's degree or higher, it can also apply if your responsibilities fall within that traditional life cycle of the employee. So think performance management, think recruiting, think assigning pay scales, practicing non-discriminatory behaviors. So you'll want to look at the eligibility requirements for each exam before you decide at all which one you're going to take, just to make sure that you're eligible in the first place. One strategy that I recommend is that you consider human resource certification as a journey rather than an event. So sharing my personal experience, because I didn't have that degree early on, I chose to take the PHR, the Professional and Human Resource Exam by HRCI first. And then a few years later, I chose to take the senior level certificate, which was the SPHR. And I found that to be useful because I was a little bit pigeonholed. My start in HR was just in recruiting. So even though I had the required years of experience to qualify to take the exam, I didn't really have the fundamental knowledge that would help me be successful. So starting with the PHR really gave me that baseline through the preparation process to be prepared to be successful on that test. Having said all of that, this tends to be a little bit controversial, but I'll say it anyways. The goal of certification, backing up, the primary goal of the certification process is not actually the credential at the end. It's not adding the PHR, the SPHR, the SHRM-CP, or the SHRM-SCP credential at the end. That's the bonus. That's a fabulous result, but it's not necessarily the priority. The primary benefit of starting your certification journey is how much stronger you become as a result of the preparation process. And I say that again based on my experience, because having been pigeonholed a little bit in recruiting, I had no idea about things like wage surveys or, best practices in talent management. I just wasn't exposed to that in my job. So the preparation process, I took 12 weeks to actually get ready, really helped me become a better HR practitioner and also identified what I'm really, really passionate about in HR. And that'll matter in just a minute. So one approach that I like to recommend to my students is do both. So start out with kind of the entry level generalist certificate. If you have no HR experience, your only option is the APHR by HRCI. If you qualify for the PHR, start with the PHR. Again, get that foundational knowledge. And let's say you go with the PHR by HRCI, maybe then get your senior certificate through SHRM. So then go for the SHRM-SCP. That way you have one of each credential. So if you do seek employment with an employer who has some sort of a preference, then you're kind of covered on both ends. After that, right, remember, certification is a journey, not an event. After you've accomplished those two things, choose any other specialist certificate where your passion lies. And I say that because we have always had options. When SHRM and HRCI split, when SHRM did their own certification, there was a lot of controversy around that. Like, there was just a lot of negative press around it. But the truth is, we've always had multiple options. And on this next slide, if you look at this is through ONET Online, which is the Department of Labor's job database. If you search for human resource generalist and you click on national certifications, if you scroll all the way down, this is what comes up. There are 88 different national certifications that an HR professional can sit for, and they can be specialized. So as you can see, there's one here on certifying HR in healthcare. You can go to the American Society for Training and Development, ATD, and you can become a training specialist. You can go to what used to be the American Compensation Association, which is now World at Work, and you can become a certified compensation specialist. You can become a certified safety professional. There are just so many options available to us that it really makes sense from a professional investment perspective to start somewhere. And really, at the end of the day, that's the advice that I have for you, which is if you're not sure which one to start with, close your eyes and pick one. You really can't go wrong because once again, you're going to go through a preparation process that's going to help you become a stronger HR professional at the end. And we'll have a better sense of, for me personally, I'm not a union gal. Not because I hate unions. It's nothing like that. It's just because I've never worked in that environment. And at this stage of my career, it doesn't make sense for me to go down that path to become a specialist in that. So just starting the process can really help you gain some self-awareness about why you're in HR in the first place, what you're incredibly passionate about, and that can really set you up for some of those benefits that we talked about at the beginning about why get certified in the first place. As always, I love talking to readers. I love talking to the individuals who are in my network. So if you have any questions at all, and I can offer you information on how to get a little bit strategic about which exam to take, please reach out. And I wish you all best of luck in 2025 on your certification journey, or even if you choose not to. Take care.